could use the pun, use the play, but right now they only have 5. So that's my first complaint. Second complaint is that I'm so tired of seeing Chad Gable take pins. Like, it's fine that this match is what it is, and it was a good match. I'd probably give it like a B minus overall. I thought it was a solid match for what I consider, other than the Creed brothers, a whole bunch of mid card wrestlers. But well, other than the Creed brothers and Chad Gable's not really. I think he's better than a mid card wrestler. But um,
Wasn't it Julius Creed who took the
so
pin?
it is what it is. But
I mean, his team lost, but I think it was Julius Creed who took the pin.
I don't think so. Didn't Chad Gable take the pin from Dexter Lumis? I thought.
I think it was Julius Creed. I could be
Okay,
wrong though.
and maybe I missed that, but I thought those. Either way, I guess his team taking the loss is what it is. I mean, the Wyatt Six are the team you really want to push, so I get it.
Then we had Judgment Day turmoil in the ring. Um, like, so Priest will have a match against Finn Balor. Rhea will have a match against Liv Morgan for the championship. Um, they
Are they
attack
going to
the
both be a
Terror
bad
Twins.
blood?
Yeah. What did I say?
You didn't say anything. You just said they're going to have a match.
Oh yeah, Bad
I
Blood.
was just
October
confirming
8th.
that they're at bad, that those are going to be at bad blood.
And Jay Uso came out for the save.
I mean, the Judgment Day is what it is. I mean, I'm definitely interested. What's going on with the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day. It's the one of the big Raw storylines. It might be the biggest Raw storyline at the moment. So, and Balor and Priest should be good, and Liv and Rhea should be good. I assume this is where Rhea gets the title back. That would be my assumption. Um, yeah. So, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
We had a backstage promo thing for Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman, the Bronze. Braun Strowman's going to be in a Fatal 4-Way match, and the winner of the Fatal 4-Way match gets to face Braun Breaker.
Yeah. I mean, too many. First of all, there's too many Brawns. That's one. Too many. There's Braun Strowman, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. It's like, and when you put them together in a feud or in a match, it's even weirder because you have a hard time keeping which one straight. I know they're spelled differently, but when you just say them, you say them the same way. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, if I have to pick here, I don't even know the Braun Strowman, although it looks likely because he's the one that's been having the most face-offs. I guess with Braun Breaker that he's going to be the one coming out of the Fatal 4-Way. Well, we don't know that yet, so we'll know that by the end of the show, I think. Um, so if it comes down to Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman, I like Braun Breaker a little bit better at the moment. So.
And we had Jey Uso earlier, and Jey Uso is going to be in the match. But the thing with Jey Uso is that it looks like he's involved with Judgment Day stuff. So if he wins the match, likely at the pay-per-view, he's going to get interfered with upon by Judgment Day because he interfered upon them.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, so next up, we had Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair facing off against Fire Island. I
Yeah. I
forget
mean,
what
this
their actual name is.
Unholy Union. But this is
Unholy
weird to me.
Union.
They literally just beat them for the titles again, and then it's like, okay, I'm in
Champ,
it.
Champions rematch clause.
Yeah, well, and they just won, and last week they won a number one contenders match to be on the whatchamacallit, so, or to get this match. So, um, against who was it? It was Io and Asuka. Yeah, it was Io and Asuka, right? That they beat last week. So, which to me is odd. Now, to be fair, all three of them have all been champions, so it is what it is. It's not like the Kabuki Warriors or Io and Asuka are new to the tag team titles, but it just seems they need an infusion of new blood. The three of these teams just kind of circling each other and handing the titles back and forth isn't going to work. It's starting to. It almost gives you the concern. Hey, she is. It almost gives you the feeling that I used to have when it was just kind of the Usos and New Day every week or every, pay-per-view for the titles. It's like, okay, but now there's three teams instead. So, okay. I guess it is what it is. So we're
Uh,
talking faster, Nico. We got to. Dolores wants us to
There we
keep
go.
it under 2 hours in case we have that same issue
Yep.
y'all had last night. So
Up
Yep.
next, we had LWO and Judgment Day on the mic. Let me think about this. Cruz del Toro, he got a beard.
you got to talk just a hair louder.
Cruz del Toro shaved his beard.
I did see that. I did see that. I mean, I like the LWO. So I mean, I'm here for whatever they're doing.
Up next, we had Bret Hart come out, and Sami Zayn eventually came out with him, and Gunther was out there as well.
That's definitely one way to put it.
That, sir, come on now. Especially when he drops the best line of the whole night. You are good, but my favorite was Goldberg. Sir, come on, man. That's so petty.
I mean, I've always been a big Bret Hart fan and a big Shawn Michaels fan. I know that sounds weird because really you're not supposed to be fans of both, but I do like them both. Bret Hart for me came a little earlier, just in his mainstream work. So like I was aware of him first a little bit. So he's a little bit older, but yeah. So, but I like them both, and I'm happy to see Bret Hart back. Doing what he's doing, and I'm happy to see that they've. I mean, it's obviously not with Vince at all because Vince is gone. But and to be fair, he's been there in the past. He's made fences when Vince owned it, so they mended their fence to a certain extent. But it's good to see him back and all those kind of fences mended. And yeah, that was a great comment. So can't argue with that. Which is interesting because Gunther's not like the greatest promo, and he's not like his promos aren't like the wittiest all the time. So it's kind of cool to see him actually come with something that was like, all right, here we go.
I want to know who's ideal to drop that line, because everyone was like, "Oh, here comes the HBK comment." No, this fool said Goldberg. Like, come on, bro.
All right.
Up next, Braun Breaker had some words with Pete Dunne backstage, and it ended with Sheamus attacking Pete Dunne.
Nice. They did this because everyone was like, when he did the backstage with Jey Uso, "Oh, you gave it away," and so they're like, "Dang! All right, Braun, go to every other opponent and and say something so it won't be so obvious." And so we're gonna cram all this in before the match.
Up next, we had Dragon Lee taking on Dominic Mysterio.
I love they remembered Dragon Lee. They're like, "Hey, we do have this great wrestler. Let's put him in some more matches. That'll be nice."
Liv
and
helped
it's solid.
Dom to win.
What?
Liv helped Dom to win the match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's supposed to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that was it. She's supposed to. So yeah.
I mean, Dragon Lee's really talented, and Dominic's getting better every day. So I mean, it's a solid match, and this furthers the feud. So here for it.
Yeah.
Up next, we had Bret Hart's niece, Natalia, joining up with Selena Vega and Lyra Valkyria to face PFC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pure Freedom. We're not saying Pure Freedom Collective, so PFC. Yes.
I mean, I guess you got to have mid-card stuff. So this is mid-card stuff, and it is what it is. I mean.
Yes. Yeah, but really, I get Yay Canada, but you really let these people, you really let Natty beat these people? Really?
I feel so bad for Shayna. She deserves just so much more.
Agreed.
Up next, Drew cut a good promo in the ring, and he called out Wade Barrett. And Adam Pearce came down and said, "I thought you and Punk were done. Punk thought you and him were done. The fans thought you and Punk were done. But according to you, you're not. So bad blood, you get Hell in a Cell."
Very nice delivery. Y'all say whoop-de-doo. Hopefully this will be a great ending to this decent to good feud. Very decent to good feud. You can tell the parts where they kind of was going on, like with the parts where they're like we're making it up while they go along. But I have enjoyed this. I like this segment where I guess Drew was trying to punk Wade Barrett, and he was like, "Hold up, I know I'm behind this commentary booth, but watch your tone. You do know me. We are friends, so just let's all be cool about this conversation. Thank you."
Yeah.
Up next, you had Karrion Cross with the Miz, and the New Day was back there too. And like honestly, I was cooking me some food at this moment, so I just like
It's kind of unfortunate because we all know. Well, if you don't know the news, Odyssey Jones is no longer with us because of the backstage. Well, not backstage, real life problems, right? And I say it's unfortunate because for this was actually a decent storyline that was hopefully going to get Odyssey and Xavier Woods on a good level foot to the next level of being single competitors. So I get they're like, hey, all right, what do we do now? Maybe not this. Because no offense, but I don't care about Miss turning heel. Like, if you want to turn heel, just do it. You don't need Karrion Cross to do it. Just turn Miss heel.
Yeah, I mean the heel is a sweet spot for Miz, so I mean in that regard, it's better anyhow. I feel like it always feels a little like he's struggling as a heel or as a face. But yeah, Karrion Cross. If I never had to see him on my TV again, I'd be fine with that. Like the dude does nothing for me, unfortunately. So it just does.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for. I mean, I didn't know that there was. I heard the Odyssey Jones was no longer there. I didn't hear that there was something going on outside. So if he has outside issues, hope he gets those resolved and can make his way back. To be fair, it was kind of weird because he's been around WWE, drafted twice, and never did anything. So it was really weird. He was on NXT, and I think he wrestled all of like 3 matches. So, and then they were going to try to interject him with the New Day, which in theory is like one of your biggest factions in WWE. Right. It seems like a weird spot for a guy you haven't seen on TV in a couple of years. So it is what it is. So I feel bad for Xavier. I feel like he's in a very low mid-tier vortex, which is very unfortunate. And I don't understand it. Like, it feels like unless they're together, WWE doesn't see the value in them. And I guess a little more in Kofi because he's at least had some stuff. But like, it's weird. Like, together, New Day is great, but as they're apart, we don't care about them. So it's really weird. I don't.
Yeah.
Up next, we had Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio, and what I assume was ALW's favorite moment of the night. Finn Balor won in a no contest because he was pummeling Rey Mysterio too badly, and the ref was like, stop, he's had enough, stop.
Yeah, I mean, at least
this was good.
At least this is 2 guys that are roughly the same size, so at least that's somewhat okay.
Oh, well, I was thinking.
And everybody was talking.
Mysterio having the no contest pulled on him because he can't defend himself.
Yes.
Like you have him strung up on the freaking ropes. But I did like this because for everyone who's like, you're not pushing Finn. Well, here's your push. He killed Rey Mysterio. Are you happy now? Are you happy now?
I'd say at least 2/3 of this group here is happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that unfortunately, factions can be both good and bad. I think factions can be really good at times, and they can also be bad because I feel like even when you're, i.e., the leader or the biggest name in the group, it's still hard to kind of stand out sometimes. And I think Finn's had a little bit of that issue with Judgment Day. I feel like being in Judgment Day has pulled him off a little individually. So I'm happy to see this here. And of course, it's against Rey Mysterio, so I'm always happy with that. Well, but I'm happy to see him get a little bit more of that edge going into this match against Damian Priest. So, or show it, I guess. Are we going to get Demon Finn Balor at Bad Blood or no?
No.
He lost 4 times.
This match doesn't need,
Well, here we
and
go.
this match isn't needed.
Why not?
Well, number one, after him and Edge cage match, let's let it die down. I blame Edge, and then we'll rebuild the face paint back up when it's appropriate. This and then I guess, and then more so getting the concept back. Because, like you said, with Vince, it was like, oh, you're spooky. And it's like, it's not a spooky thing. It's war paint. So, I'm not sure what story. Well, this story might be like a war paint. I'm going to. All right, sorry. I'm speaking words. Get to the point. This is their first match, right? If they're going to run this back and do something more sinister, that's when you bring in Demon Finn.
That makes sense.
In my opinion.
Up next, we had the Fatal 4-Way match. Bronson Reed came down, and splashed Braun Strowman through a table, taking him out of the match.
Let's make this perfectly clear. He didn't come down. What's his name? Lord. Okay, someone's name need to get right. We have too many Bronsons up in this piece. That's why I had a brain fart. But Braun Strowman was clearing the announcer table, and out of freaking nowhere, tsunami. And like again, this man is over 300 pounds. How we get a surprise tsunami and not off the top rope, off the barricade? It was a whole lot of stuff in play for this awesome thing to happen. I'm glad it happened though. I loved it. It was so freaking good.
So, who knows? Maybe that could be a match at Bad Blood, but neither one of those two competitors are facing for the IC title because so Ilya hit the H-bomb, I think is the name of it, on Pete Dunne, and Jey Uso swooped in and got the win.
No. Well, I believe Jey Uso did his splash and then got the win. It wasn't like he covered, like you said, like he stole it.
He did.
He didn't steal it.
He stole it from Ilya.
He didn't steal. No. Yeah, it was a super kick and then it was a splash.
He super kicked Ilya. He climbed up. Yeah. He did the splash to Pete Dunne. But let's face it, Pete Dunne was already done. He got hit with the H-bomb. Like he wasn't hitting done. He could have just super kicked and then went for the pin.
I mean, but Pete Dunne kicked out though. It wasn't like. Now I gotta rewatch it. No, so because when you say steal, Pete Dunne was trying to steal a bunch of pins where he was this. I love Pete Dunne in this match where he was just basically tossing everyone out after they did their move, their finisher, and try to get the pin. But so that's what I consider stealing.
If he did
but
that
no,
more often in 2K, he'd win more matches.
Probably. Side note, I want Pete Dunne versus Ilya. They did a nice little mini match, and I want that. Please give me that.
So much going on. He's got Sheamus. He's got Trick Williams. We add another thing to the bingo card.
Well, we're gonna get to NXT right after this. But I think I think him and Trick are done. I think him and Trick are done for at least a nice little chunk of time.
And to wrap up Raw, we then got a face-to-face of Braun Breaker and Jey Uso.
Why is this not on Bad Blood? That is stupid. It's gonna be on freaking basic television.
I don't know if there's enough.
Because it's gonna be so good.
You feel like with a pay-per-view named Bad Blood, there should be a lot of meat on the bone, and there really isn't between these two yet. So I can kind of understand maybe that's why they're not doing it. But at the same time, I mean, it should be on the pay-per-view, at least in defense of the title. So I guess Jey Uso's as good as anybody to have the title shot. I have a feeling Braun Breaker gets the win, but I mean, Jey Uso's primed for a singles title too. So. This could be the spot, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Is he actually going to win? Because I don't think so. I think Judgment Day's going to come out and interfere.
Well, Rikishi's on social media. He's like, where's my baby boy's singles title match, right? And shot. So there's enough doubt where I can't put 100% on Braun. I'll put 70% on Braun winning. 70%.
We're talking about Jey Uso, his single title shot.
Yep.
Yeah, yes.
Listen, he got to face Roman. He got to face Seth. He got to face Gunther. He got to face
But he always
Damian
lost.
Priest. Like, yeah, he lost, but he got shots.
So more so Rikishi's like when he's gonna actually win.
I don't think it's
I
happening
wouldn't.
yet.
I wouldn't let Braun beat Jey Uso, but the Jey Uso as the IC champion, that should be a thing. Not now, but that should be a thing.
All right, so that was the end of Raw. What'd you guys give Raw for a grade this week? If you're grading it,
B,
solid.
solid B.
And what about you, Sammy?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go.
That's where I was going. I was going to go about a B minus. I didn't think there was anything terrible on the show, but I also didn't think there was anything that was like, oh my god, this is amazing either. So
To be fair, I was gonna give it a C plus, but yeah,
you thought it was a pretty standard run of the mill Raw. So
The beginning match and end match were great.
to be
So
fair, Joe Tessitore made the announcement that makes my heart happy. That at least between October 7th and Netflix next year, January
Right.
2025, Raw will be back to 2 hours. We'll see what they do on Netflix. I don't know what that's going to look like. I was reading an article that was saying that Netflix, first of all, will have commercials during Raw because wrestling fans are used to it. So it's a way for them to work commercials in. And two, apparently it's going to be kind of a floating clock. So in other words, if the show goes a little long, Netflix has the ability to just kind of do that, and whatever it is, whatever the time frame works out to be. So is that so? It just means it's going to be somewhere probably between 2 and 3 hours would be my guess. That's the kind of how I took that. But for me, for October until January, we get it for 2 hours. So I was very happy about that. So
right. I can see because so if you have Netflix, they do have a plan of commercials, the cheaper one, right? Not sure how many people are getting that. I would get it, but my family's too used to commercial free, whatever. So I think it's gonna, in that aspect, it's gonna work. So if you are, for some reason, just getting Netflix for WWE, you can get it for a cheaper price, and hopefully, if you already have it, it won't be no rest holds. During it's like, all right, you make some, and like when they come back, all right, you make some great action. But I can definitely see why it's on Netflix. You can condense it to 2 hours because it won't be what you call it. You don't have to worry about ads and servicing the ads, and you don't have to worry about make it all. So I can definitely see them doing a great 2 hour on Netflix.
they were also saying that on Netflix with the ads, because it's not a station that they can decide when to put the ads in. They're not on like a normal, like every TV show, 7 minutes in has to have an ad, and then 14 minutes in has to have an ad per the network. Like Netflix doesn't have to do that, so they can wait and put the ads on between the matches and during so they have more leeway as to when the ads will be on if you're getting the ads. The impression I got was that all the WWE programs, no matter what platform you're on, will get the ads. I sure hope you're right. Hopefully it's only the cheaper program because I don't want the ads, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. So I'm excited for it on
that's
Netflix,
what should happen.
just for something new. So
I kept Raw under 30 minutes. So
yep,
time for
I
NXT.
will do my very best to keep this under 30 minutes. So we are talking about
That was
NXT
good.
from the very next day. It was an exciting show. I feel like NXT is in third gear at the moment. They are firing on all cylinders. We got a lot of good stuff going on NXT at the moment. So it did start out with kind of a recap of what's going on. Julia coming, everything that's going on with her, and just kind of a recap of what happened last week and what's been leading up to this. We were supposed to have a tag team championship match between Nathan Frazier Axiom versus the Rascals, but for whatever reason they couldn't make it under conspicuous circumstances. So, which I thought was kind of odd. But so we get the Street Profits,
Right?
in which is a very solid match. Got to see the Street Profits on NXT which is fun. Again, bringing the main roster talent down to um, the down to NXT is always fun. So this was fun.
Right.
The Street Profits. It feels like and now I don't watch SmackDown all that often, but it feels like they've been kind of cooled down a little bit and slowed down a little bit. So here we get to see them go back to kind of be bigger fish in a smaller pond. They stand out a little bit more in NXT, so I like that. However, um, we got the bloodline out here during this match, which was very interesting to destroy basically everybody. Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu. So we got both the Street Profits from the main roster and now the Bloodline making an appearance on NXT. What do you guys think of this opening segment? What do you guys think of the Street Profits and the Bloodline being on NXT?
Great.
Oh, sorry. Fraser and Axiom ultimately retained their titles. That was the ultimate outcome of the match.
Right. Jacob 5'2" is too big to be going that fast and that hard. Like, bruh, pause. But like, bruh, you can't be just coming out of nowhere and hitting people. But I absolutely loved it. The whole thing with the Street Profits is I'm not saying they're cooled down. I think right now, I think they're debating on who should beat the Bloodline, because they did go against the Bloodline and they did lose, whatever. But then they joined Cody at one segment to help fight them off. So this was kind of like payback for that. And so I think they are still keeping them in the mix, which is good, which is very good.
Next we had Tony D paying someone to take out Oba Femi. We're going to find out later who it will be. Then we had a video package of Julia and Roxanne, Julia's debut, and Rock entered challenge to Roxanne. And then we had Julia's NXT/WWE in-ring wrestling debut against, say it, Anika?
Chelsea Green!
In which, honestly, like on paper, when they announced this last week, I thought, and when I looked at this on paper, I thought this was going to be the match of the night, even though Trick and Peter wrestling. And then when it actually happened, I don't know, like, it didn't quite live up to my hopeful expectations. I didn't think there was anything terrible about it. I understand this is a number one contenders match, so the winner gets a shot at Roxanne Perez. So I understand why they gave Chelsea Green a lot of offense. But for me, knowing that Julia is who she is and that we're all kind of, even though we're just meeting her for some people, you're supposed to know who she is to a certain extent. And that she comes in with this kind of, almost one of the best wrestler in the world monikers. And she should be beating Chelsea Green a little more handily, look a little bit better in her offense, I thought, and a little bit more, I don't know. It just didn't hit the mark for me. What did you guys think of this match?
It's a catch-22. When I saw this match, my mind went to MJF, and what I like and what I don't like with his booking. It's smart, but sometimes I don't like it. More so, let me explain. So CM Punk versus MJF, right? Their first match was on basic television, and so some people are like, "Why would you not wait until the preview?" The pay-per-view. And it's like, well, just in case we gotta work some kinks out, let's do this match on television and then do better on pay-per-view, right? So in that aspect, with Julia having her first match on basic television, okay, yeah, so she can get knock the ring rust off, get accommodated to the girls. Sure, let's do this match now, and then we'll do the big match. The big match is next week, but so like let her work out how her offense will react to the girls before she gets on a takeover. So in that aspect, I get it. I get also, I feel like on SmackDown, I'm not gonna say they're pushing Chelsea Green, but they're making her a bigger threat on SmackDown. So not 100% mad it wasn't a squash match, but it was nice.
Reminds me of Kenny Omega versus Alan Angels.
That too, yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with having a 7, 8 minute match, you know, like let workers work, let them showcase their skills. This is her first match in front of the WWE audience, so like it's good to like actually show a bit of her move set before making them champion.
And she's so freaking awesome. No, she looks so great. Oh my god, you're here.
So,
I,
so
I've been
let me
talking
just
her up. I've
confirm.
been her hype man on here for years now. Like,
Yes, you have.
So let me just confirm. As her hype man on here, I mean, were you satisfied with this as her debut?
yeah, I'm a big fan of Chelsea Green. I've said before, Chelsea Green's top 5 WWE women's talent for me. I mean, she's number 5, but number 5 is still top 5.
All right. So then we had Trick Williams is getting ready for Pete Dunne, and then he's coming for his NXT title against Ethan Page. We'll get that match. That's the main event of the night. Jordan Grace then talks about how important the TNA knockouts is and why she is doing and how she wants the best to come forward in her open challenge, which we will have later in the night. Alexis King is at a barbershop, shows the highlight reel of his greatest hits, and then Ora Mensa jumps in. Again, a feud I don't care anything about. Does anyone care about Ora Mensa and Alexis King at this point?
Yeah,
Nice.
like let's move on.
Lola Vice and JC Jane argue over who's going to step to Jordan Grace, which is interesting because, as you will see when we get there, it was ultimately neither of them. So I'm not totally sure why they did this, but it is what it is. Then we had Javon Evans versus Charlie Dempsey in a Heritage Cup match. Ultimately, Charlie Dempsey got the win and retained the Heritage Cup match, but this was solid. Javon Evans continues to have good matches. Um, and I enjoy him. And I also, Tavian Heights came out. Here's my issue. Um, Again, I'm going to say this regularly. We're having too many matches, be it AEW or WWE, where you have some sort of involvement. It's not always determining the outcome. They're not getting disqualified. They're not necessarily, but there's just too much going on. Just let these people have matches and have them and not have to always have something else extracurricular going on. And Tavian Heights, here we had something extracurricular going on. But
Big,
ultimately, what Dempsey got to win here. What do you guys think of this match?
well, the last 3 segments were a big dip from Julia's match.
I get why you say that. I'm very well as someone who doesn't watch NXT regularly. I am the jolt of this new person coming into the no quarter catch crew. Yeah, it did give a little bit of energy to this crew that they need. So I am glad about that. Like, yes, this crew needed some kind of energetic hype man. So whoever you are, sir, I'm glad you're back. Let's go.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, no quarter catch crew has been, even though Dempsey gets a fair amount, they get a fair amount of airtime, and Dempsey's there. They've been kind of floundering a little bit. So, and we'll see if whatchamacallit can help bring that back a little bit. Avian Heights. So, Rosemary, Wendy Chu, they want to destroy Lyra Valkyrie and Tatum Paxley. So that should be coming. Ethan Page is happy to see Pete Dunne and Trick Williams beat each other up, and he will clean up the scraps on the CW debut on October 1st. Then they announced that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill will be in Chicago on October 1st for the premiere of NXT on the CW. I don't know what they're going to be doing. I don't know if they're going to have a title match. They didn't really make that clear, but we will see.
Well, it's like the women tag. Like this is what pisses me off. But it's so frustrating because they're not enough women tag teams. These tag team titles are supposed to be for 3 brands. So let them go on all 3 brands. Not sure who they're gonna face, but yeah, let them go on all 3 brands. If the person who Right. If the person who wins them, I don't even think they have like. Sorry, use words. Speak full sentences. Um, I'm not sure they want. I'm not sure if it's like travel issues where they don't want to pay the girls to go to all three brands. But you told us this. You told us this. So at least once a month, let them go to all three brands. It don't gotta be in the same week, but once a month, the women tag team champions should go to all three brands.
No, I agree with that. I mean, there's not enough necessarily women on either Raw or SmackDown, but collectively between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, you should be able to cobble together enough for there to be at least somewhat of a division. So we'll see what
Please.
Bianca and Shane do. I'm excited for it. They definitely have a lot of star power coming out, as you'll see later.
Yeah.
As you see later, CM Punk will also be on NXT on October 1st for their premiere on CW when they're in Chicago. So that show is getting loaded. It should be an interesting show. In the meantime, we did get Obafemi out, and we don't know yet we don't know at this moment who his opponent's going to be. And then the music hits, and it is current TNA contracted superstar, Alexander Hammerstone, although he only goes by Hammerstone at the moment, who is a big dude, a powerhouse. So
He
he
is.
comes
Yeah.
out, and him and Obafemi have a big meaty men slapping meat match. I like both of these men. I like both these men a lot. Um, they're both very athletic for what they are. They're both extremely talented. I thought for me, this made my heart happy. I like seeing this. I hope Hammerstone ultimately comes to WWE. I think he's perfect for WWE. So I'd love to see that. This match, I understand why it ended under 5 minutes because these are two big men that were already a little tired. At the same time, I wanted a little bit more just because I liked it. I didn't want it to end. But I enjoyed this a lot. Obafemi got the win and ultimately retained um, his North American Championship. Tony D is not happy as he was the one that paid Hammerstone. Like I said, I don't know. Hammerstone is TNA talent, so we'll see if this goes any farther with Tony D and Hammerstone. I mean, Hammerstone would be a good addition to the family if that's what they ultimately are going to do. I don't know that that's what's going to happen, but what do you guys think of this?
I dig Hammerstone.
Very good. Very decent showcase. Very decent showcase. Definitely shouldn't be by himself. Maybe that I think I definitely need the manager or be in a group.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, the perfect manager for him is kind of a huge star in AEW.
Oh, what? Who?
MJF.
Stokely? Oh, MJF. Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Hank and Tank are ready, but Chase U walks in with Duke Hudson, promising to hurt Ridge Holland. Ren Sinclair doesn't know which title she should go after and asks Lonnie Jordan. She's going to end up having an open challenge for the North American title. And then ultimately Lola Vice and Jada Parker talk about how they might meet up Fatal Influence. And, okay. CM Punk was impressed by Julia's debut and is going to call Ava with an idea. Then we get kind of a grudge match. Oh, yeah. Did you want to say something about that? You said, what do you think that might be?
Okay, so my first thought, yeah, I'll say it. Unfortunately, went to what's old girl who had the skateboard but don't skate? Jade something.
Cora Jade.
Yeah.
Cora Jade. So I know that she's a big CM Punk, well, more so AJ Lee fan, and they were doing TikToks together. So my mind went there. I don't hate it, but no. So hopefully it's something else. But when I say the first show on NXT on CW, it's gonna be good. I'll just say it's gonna be good.
Yeah, they're definitely building that up to be a good show. And NXT is, like I said, it's firing on all cylinders at the moment. I thought this was a really good episode. So, Ridge Holland versus Duke Hudson, which is a little bit of a grudge match because Ridge Holland took out Andre Chase and is kind of dismantling Chase U at the moment. So Ridge Holland does further damage here and puts Hudson down with a DDT in under 5 minutes. I thought it was okay. I mean, if this is a story that we're telling, that Ridge Holland is going to destroy Chase U, then he should be beating Duke Hudson here, and that's what happened. So, anything you guys want to say about this, or what's going on with Ridge and Chase U?
I'll just say this. Like you said, storyline wise, it's good. Not sure how Thea Hale. I don't think him and Thea Hale are going to be a team. 'Cause I don't see how, because like at the end she was going out of her mind. She's like, "Stop! Just stop!" I don't see how they're going to flip it to where she joins him. I would love to see how if they wanted to do that, how they're going to do that. I don't see how that happens though. But like she would just stop, stop. It's
Yeah.
not funny, but it's funny.
Let's see. Post match, Ridge continues to beat up Duke Hudson, hits him with another DDT on the barricade. Then we have Jordan Grace and Julia kind of running into each other for what is a cool visual. I'd be here for that. That would be a lot of fun, especially if it's for the TNA Knockout Championship. Although, to be honest with you, if it's for the TNA Knockout Championship, maybe it would be a little less fun because I feel like Jordan's going to win those matches. I don't think they're going to put the TNA Knockout Championship on an NXT or WWE contract superstar for any period of time. I could be wrong, but that's just what it feels like. So, so maybe wait until Jordan Grace isn't champion and then have them have a match. Maybe that way. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know if anyone's going to beat Jordan Grace anytime soon, but let's see.
I think Jordan Grace will come into NXT and challenge Julia after Julia's the NXT Women's Champion.
That would work. Yeah, I'd be here for that. Pete Dunne is ready to fight Trick Williams and move on to become NXT Championship on October 1st against Ethan Page. We get a flashback or we get a replay of the Bloodline coming out and destroying the Street Profits and Nathan Frazier. Wesley comes out on commentary, says he took out Trey Miguel so the Rascals couldn't get the title shot, and he wants Zachary Wentz in a street fight in Chicago on the CW opener on October 1st. So it looks like we're going to get them again in another
Let's go!
match. Yeah, I was just going to say, what do you guys think? You want to see it again? Are you happy for the street fight between these two?
I would love to see it. Like, come on. No, what harm will it do? Don't know who wins. Well, it should be Wesley who wins. It should be Wesley who wins. But it's gonna be a great match, though.
Yeah.
We had Jordan Grace out, and she does her open challenge, and the open challenge is answered by Sol Ruca, which I thought was kind of interesting. Although I'll be totally honest with you, when I saw Sol Ruca come out, I thought, that's really unfortunate because you're going to feed Sol Ruca to Jordan Grace. As soon as I saw Sol Ruca, I knew Jordan Grace was winning. Not that there's anybody on the roster other than maybe like a Lola Vice or Roxanne Perez that would make me think that she's not going to win. But definitely she's not losing to Sol Ruca. She's not losing the knockout title on NXT to Sol Ruca. That being said, I thought Sol Ruca had a good match. The match went almost 9 minutes. I thought both women looked good. I thought they gave Sol Ruca a lot of offense, which I thought was nice. And Jordan Grace did a good job of selling and making her look good and ultimately coming out with the good-looking win in the end. So I thought this does much more, in my opinion, for Sol Ruca than it does for Jordan Grace. But, I didn't have a problem with it.
Right. Sometimes the younger people need that push. And like you said, it didn't hurt Jordan Grace. So, yeah, you do it every full moon.
Ultimately, this didn't really come to an end because Rosemary and Wendy Chu came out to jump Jordan Grace. Leading up to Wendy Chu versus Jordan Grace for the TNA Knockout Championship, which was a Victory Road on last night's show. Sammy Joe, you were watching that. Tell us about it. How was that match? Who got the win?
Jordan Grace got the win. I also wanted to say, Jordan Grace and Sol Ruca, Sol Ruca's not that much younger than she is. Jordan Grace is 28.
This is true.
Yeah.
Soul Rickus 25.
Um,
Like,
how did Wendy Chu do? I didn't see the match, so
oh,
was it at least
she
a
did
good?
good. It was a fun match. It was better than the Tatum Paxley one.
Of course. And I
um,
do like a little. I do like that NXT is giving TNA a little bit. Like, yes, okay, let's do this and promote your pay per view match. So I do like that. Like, okay, we're getting a little bit better of sending some NXT people over there to TNA.
we get Tatum and Lyra with dolls backstage. This is just more of their friendship stuff, and okay, it doesn't do anything for me. Julia's with Funaki in Ava's office when Roxanne Perez comes in and says Julia isn't taking anything over. There's tension. Looks like they might get physical, but Ava says save it for Chicago. Dion Lennox warns Brooks Jensen about Sean Spears. Jensen Spears seem to be okay, so it is what it is, I guess. Then we get another dumb Ashanti the Adonis and Eddie Thorpe arguing over their Thorpe's friendship with various women. This has been ongoing now for a while. I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but this is dumb. I don't know why they keep doing this week after week. They keep having these segments with these two and the women week after week. So, but then we have the main event, which was Trick Williams versus Pete Dunne in the last man standing match to name a number one contender to face Ethan Page on October 1st at the debut of NXT on CW. This was a really, really good match. My only question was two things. Even though technically, again, he didn't really interfere with the outcome of the match, here comes Ethan Page during the match, takes a bump, and Trick Williams still gets the win. So even though it didn't affect it, we still have somebody else getting involved and making we don't just have a three match. That's the first thing. Secondly, it felt like Pete Dunne was in the offensive position of that move off of the top of the NXT sign that ultimately he couldn't get up from. So it looked a little weird. He took the brunt of what looked like his offensive move when they went off the top. It was like a side Russian leg sweep almost, but it wasn't. I'm not sure exactly what the move even was. And then Pete Dunne ended up taking the brunt and couldn't get up, and Trick made his way up first. So Trick Williams got the win and is the number one contender for for the NXT Championship against Ethan Page on October 1st on the CW.
Reminds me of Shelton Benjamin's finisher, where like every time I see it, I think it's a move against Shelton, and it's like, oh no, Shelton gets right back up and tries to pin. It's like, oh, I guess that's his move. It looks like he was after it all.
There are so many moves in wrestling that I'm like, y'all do realize it don't look like you got hurt. Like, I feel like you got hurt more than you hurt your opponent. So I'm not gonna harp on that so much. I like the ending though. I like the ending where it's like, in my mind, Ethan Page wanted Pete Dunne to get up. I'm like, sir, I don't think you can beat Pete Dunne either. So I'm like, I know you hate Trick Williams, but I think you'll get hurt more if you go against Pete Dunne. But hey, that's just me. Maybe I had an agreement, whatever. But I did love the whole flip to stand up. I'm like, I got hyped for that. I'm like, whoa, damn. So like that was a very nice ending to the match. I like that. I did like that ending.
I mean, other than the fact that, like you said, there's a lot of offensive moves that people do that seems like it does more damage to the person doing the move. And that was the case here. Other than that, and, again, even though it didn't affect the outcome, Ethan Page being there, I guess it is a little fun at the same time. I just wish we get a clean match. But so we get Trick versus, like I said, Ethan Page on October 1st. It's the debut of NXT on the CW. So I'm excited for that. It should be fun. Even though Trick Williams has been NXT champion before, I imagine he's probably Ethan Page gets a win here, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So I thought, for me personally, this week NXT was better than Raw. I gave Raw a B-. I'm giving NXT a B+ this week. I thought, for me, this week NXT was better. What are you guys giving NXT for a grade?
I'm giving it a B. I think it was a tie. But I know they did way better than the last couple of weeks. So definitely a B. Definitely a B.
I would agree that NXT was better than Raw this week, but I'm still giving it a B minus. Just it's a high B minus, and WWE Raw is a low B minus.
High B minus and a low B minus. Well, let's just say that for a show that is developmental to even be competing with the flagship
Yeah.
show like that shows you both a kind of an indictment of where Raw is at and also how good NXT is doing at the moment. I think it's
I
a little bit of
mean,
both.
you take Julia out of that, not it goes down to a C plus. You take Hammer Stone out of it, it goes down to a C. Like
No, you're right. I mean, and the Street Profits making an appearance is nice. Jordan Grace being on the show is nice. So it's not like it's a lot of NXT homegrown talent that's carrying this or anything. It is a lot of outside people, TNA and main roster stars that are doing it. But
you
hey,
take all
it's
that
on
stuff out,
NXT.
this quickly becomes a D plus show.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's there. So in the meantime, while it's happening, I mean, it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
and I like to see them giving the effort to NXT. It's nice to see them caring and doing that. I like the fact that I feel bad for TNA. I guess WWE sees TNA and NXT on the same level because that's really where the forbidden door has been opened, right? Like nobody's gone really to the main roster and done anything. Nobody from the main roster has gone to TNA. It's all been on NXT and TNA. It's all been basically between TNA and NXT. So,
Right.
okay, I don't know that
Moment
TNA likes
Stephanie
being
Vicure,
associated with WWE's developmental brand, but I guess it is what it is. It's better than nothing, I suppose.
the moment Stephanie Vicure comes in, I feel like NXT has a better women's roster than TNA, which TNA has had the best women's division for so many years.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about. But when it comes to the male talent, TNA definitely has the advantage with, you know, well, I mean, a lot of their male talent's coming over here, so, that could be in due for a change. But, you got guys like Mike Bailey, Moose, like TNA's got
Mm.
great talent.
But no, and as well, I mean, they should, right? I mean, they're not a developmental program. I mean, they're supposed they want to be a mainstream competitor with
Yeah.
WWE and AEW, so they should have a better than developmental WWE NXT. So,
Yeah.
They wish
but yeah,
they had an NXT TV deal.
yeah,
Right.
yes, they do. All
Let's
right,
call
so
us.
moving on. Oh, go ahead. What were you
No,
saying?
real quick. Let's call a spade a spade. The dream match in this cooperation is Joe Hendry versus Drew McIntyre. Don't see that work. Don't see them taking Drew over to TNA. So hopefully we'll see that in probably Royal Rumble 2025.
That is a rematch I am here for.
Yeah, yeah. I think, and it might come to fruition, but it's probably going to be on WE more than TNA.
I'm
I
so ready to talk about Dynamite.
Joe Hendry is a wrestler thanks to John Cena, by
Yeah,
the way.
that's something to talk about on the podcast. Yeah.
Well, Joe Hendry, his buddy went to watch a WWE show, and
Hmm.
he got to do a little meet and greet with John Cena. And my buddy's such a big fan and everything, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, call him up." And so he called up Joe Hendry and was like, "Hey, John Cena wants to talk to you." And apparently, John Cena took 10 minutes out of his meet and greet to talk to Joe Hendry on the phone before talking to all the other fans. It's like that's somebody who cares about his fans.
I mean, it's interesting. Not everybody's. Oh, there's an echo. It's because of Nika's headset, I think.
Go go go.
Um, what was I going to say? A lot of people, not everybody's black and white. There's everyone's gray. So, like, a lot of people don't like John Cena, and I know that he has a lot of questionable things that he's done, outside of wrestling and whatever, as far as personal life. There's been some whatever, but the fact is that for the most part, he's done a lot of good things too in his life and career, and that's another one of them. So he seems to be a pretty reasonable, personable person. So, I mean,
No.
whether you believe it's for notoriety or fame or whatever you put it up to, I don't care what you chalk it up to. For the kids, they don't care, and he's done more Make-A-Wish visits than anybody. So the fact, I mean, the kids don't care whether it's for cameras or not. They don't get whatever. They're just happy to see who they see. So that to me tells me all you need to know. Whether he's doing it for whatever the case may be, he's still doing it. So
Bump them kids. No, I'm playing.
So
Bump them kids. No, I'm playing. No. Real quick, because I said that. Let me refrain. No, in real life, I have no problem with John Cena in real life. The whole like your personal decisions are your personal decisions, right? And you have a reason for them. But just don't be mucking that up with my wrestling. That's all. Okay. All right. So I think I did this on purpose, but whatever. You're gonna be a whole hour for the AEW Dynamite. Anyway, so
let's. Hour. You can do 20 minutes. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's fine as long as we get to the most important thing that happened on the show.
Sure. Okay. Let's start. So this is the Dynamite after All Out, and they show you the aftermath, which I do love, of how the BCC turned on Danielson, and I mean turned. Like, we can't say words, unaliving with a plastic bag, and in pure Jon Moxley fashion. This is the Jon Moxley I love. I don't need, like, he's like, I am who I am. So I have to do what needs to be done. He's like, Yuta, I'm sorry. You don't have the stomach for this. We're going to do some things basically in AEW. We're going to change the game. And I'm like, I'm here for this ride. Let's freaking go. I'm with you. I will drive off this cliff with you.
It's crazy because a week ago, me and ALW were talking. If Jon Moxley goes on like a monster run, he's in contention for being named the GOAT. And this could be it.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, and so we go inside of the auditorium, and our first promo is Christian Cage, who is the Casino Battle Gauntlet winner at All In. That means he has a Money in a Bank style opportunity for the World Heavyweight Championship. Has this always been a thing for the Casino Gauntlet? I know you win an opportunity, but I never thought it was I can cash in at any time. I'm like, when did y'all add that stipulation?
About a year ago.
A year ago. Okay, so it wasn't for the fall 5 years. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that before either, so it caught me a little off guard. But I like.
So I'm like, hold up. I think you still have to.
I don't like about it. The only thing I don't like about it is that I feel like wrestling is so kind of copycatish, and this is it just has a real Money in the Bank feel to it, and it's fine. It is what it is. But
when Luchasaurus won, it was added to his, and then he used it for Christian Cage, and that's how Christian Cage won the TNT title from Adam Copeland.
All right.
So, like you said, I'm not sure how I feel about the whole at any time, but we'll see. Like you said, I don't think AEW needs that stipulation right now. But he was like, basically, I have my opportunity. He actually hyped up Kill Switch, not Luchasaurus. He's like, he's the best big man in the business. And then he, as a father figure, Nick Wayne says, I have an aura that's unbound. I'm like, no, this shouldn't be a thing. No. Nick Wayne teaching you new lingo. I don't like it. Stop it now. It's weird. It's dumb.
Talk about his aura than watch Aura Mensa wrestle.
That's not right. That's not right. So a little bit personally. All right, you know what? We'll talk about that later. So then next we have Don Callis' family backstage with Will Ospreay, and Don Callis like, Ospreay, I got an idea for you. So basically, the tag team Casino Battle Gauntlet is the main event. How about you teaming up with Kyle Fletcher to get this dub? And he was like, I really don't have the time. I just won the international title back. You acting like you don't want to be in this match. And this is Ospreay. This is probably your favorite match you have done in AEW. So why are you acting like you don't want to be up in here? And so Kyle Fletcher gave him a little more extensive. He's like, sir, I've been here. I'm tired of being closed but no cigar. So can you help your boy out? He did after that one sentence. All right, let's go. I'm like, sir, you already know you want to be in this match. I don't even know why you're fronting. So they hug, hype up. He tries to catch the high five. The kiss is staring him down. I'm like, yes, please. Because we still, like I said, after we settle down with this tag team thing, we still got Ospreay at the international championship. So to catch the having the shot, yes, please. Any thoughts?
just real quick, in case you forgot how good Christian Cage is on the microphone, he reminded you in that opening segment. So that was great. Christian's phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay, in my opinion, Will Ospreay might be the greatest wrestler on the planet between the ropes at the moment. And Kyle
Hmm.
Fletcher, man,
He's good.
he's not. I mean, he's right now. He's in my favorite top 10 at least as far as between the ropes, and he might be in the best top 10 between the ropes. I mean, dude is killing it at the moment. So
Oh yeah.
the fact that these two together as a tag team, I mean, that made my heart happy. So and this
Yeah.
gauntlet, the tag team gauntlet, whatever you call it, calling it
Right.
match for the main event, I was excited for that leading up to it. So and we'll get to it when we talk
Mhm.
about it, but yeah.
All right, next up, we have our first official match of the night, which is Leo Rush versus Jack Perry for the TNT title. So they made a point of showing Jack Perry coming in his scapegoat car. Not sure that's going to play into something. Don't know what it's going to play into, but sure. So they have this match. I love Leo Rush, and this gives me a revelation of what I want for another person down the show. We'll talk about it later. But very good match. Jack Perry wins. Blah blah blah. And he leaves, and they try to get an interview with him backstage, but he just leaves. And I like that. He's like, yeah, I'm still TNT champion, but let's not forget I did have a shot that I lost at All Out against Danielson. So I am still mad about that. So I like how Jack Perry's carrying himself right now. He's like, yeah, I'm still TNT champion, but I still lost. So yay, but give me a minute. Back up. What do y'all think about the match in Jack Perry
Fire.
and Leo Rush? You said fire? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Most
mean,
definitely.
I mean, I liked it. I mean, for me, Leo Rush in my mind shouldn't be losing to Jack Perry normally, but the booking doesn't read that way at the moment, so I get
Right.
why it is. But for me, there's levels to this, and Leo Rush is on a way higher level, in my opinion, than Jack Perry.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, he's been doing it a lot longer, so I mean, it is what it is. He's got a lot more experience.
Well,
So I was a
are
little
we
disappointed
talking
to see Leo.
professionally? Because like Jack Perry started training when he was like 12.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just feels like I've been seeing Leo Rush on my TV a lot longer than I've been seeing Jack Perry. When I say stuff like that, it's all about like what I see on my TV is how I'm talking about it. So
And who
I
they're
have no idea
wrestling.
when all these guys actually start. Some of these guys start when they're 4. Some of them start when they're 50. I mean, who knows? I have no idea. You get guys coming late like Batista, who came in at 35 or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, it just depends. But I just talk about time on my TV. Um,
Uh,
but
for the fans at home, Leo Rush is 29. Jack Perry is 27.
okay, so they're very close in age. But I thought it was a fun match. I thought that Jack Perry got the win a little too fast. I would have liked to see Leo Rush get more
Yeah.
offense here and maybe have a little bit longer match. But there's no real feud here. It just is a defense for Jack Perry.
Right.
So I mean, he got the win, and it's supposed to be a Jack Perry showcase, which
Yeah.
that's what they did. So,
Yeah.
and you're right. I mean, I wanted him to turn heel. And then when it happened, the first little bit of it, I was like, this isn't working. I think he's turned it around. I think right now he's doing a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good job of being a heel for the most part.
Mhm.
I like the work that he's doing, and I'm here for scapegoat Jack Perry.
Scapegoat is definitely better than Hollywood Jack Perry. Definitely better. I wonder what agreement Leo Rush has with the AEW. I don't think he's under contract, and I bring that up because he probably is not going to win a lot of huge matches unless he signs with AEW, unfortunately. And I hope, if you're getting swayed towards that, then yes, sign. Yes, so we can see more of you. Come on.
I do worry a little bit. Tony has made it a statement or made it a point that he wants all titles to be equal. And I do feel like if you have Jack Perry, who's now got the TNT title, but is focused only on trying to win the AEW title, even though 2 belts is great, it almost feels like it diminishes the TNT title a little bit, like in his mind. No, it's not
Yeah.
as important as the AEW title. It just it sits here, but I'm really looking at that title, which I think kind of almost, I don't know, does opposite of what Tony wants to do by keeping the titles all, on the equal playing field. But it is what it is.
Yeah. All right, and so now we have a backstage segment with Renee Paquette interviewing Hangman after his very sick cage lights out match, where he basically drugged Swerve to get the win. And so basically, Heyman was like, I told y'all what I was going to do to Swerve. He's like, if this man has 100 childhood homes, I would burn every one of them down. So just in case y'all thought I was playing, I'm not playing. And I will stop anyone who gets in my way. Then he does it's supposed to be called the Walk of Shame, but he ain't no shame in his game. So we have Hangman versus Dark Order. If anyone remembers that, I do. And so Evil Uno was like, we don't even recognize you, man. It's like he's like, okay. And then he steps up to Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett is like he's the wise old prospector, which I do love. Like if you're gonna use Jeff Jarrett, let him be the old prospector just giving out wisdom. And he was like, I've been down this road before, son. Ain't gonna leave but nothing but destruction. And I guess Heyman didn't want to listen no more, and it was a brawl. So here's the thing, right? I am very happy that it did not do Heyman versus Jeff Jarrett all in or all out, because it feels like that's what they were going for, and I'm glad that they suppressed your wants and needs. If they're gonna do this at what's his name, Grand Slam, to my knowledge, that's not a pay-per-view, right? That's gonna be on Dynamite, yes or no?
Correct. Yeah. That's right.
So I'm not paying to watch that. That can be on Grand Slam. If you just want to scratch that itch and finally have Jeff Jarrett versus Hangman, then sure. But decent little segment. What do you guys think?
I understand. Go ahead, Timmy. Go ahead.
It feels like Hangman has his groove back.
Oh yeah, drunk, uncontrollable Hangman is the best Hangman. To me, let him not be all together. Let him have his demons and work through them in the ring. That's just me. Okay.
I mean, I guess he's got his edge back, but he's gonna have a feud with Jeff Jarrett. Like that doesn't feel like. I mean, okay.
Well,
I mean, I guess look, Tony Khan and other people put a lot more stock in Jeff Jarrett than I do. So I guess maybe he's a lot higher up on the totem pole as a gatekeeper than it feels like to me. To me, that feels like a way step down for Adam Page to be in a feud with Jeff Jarrett. And I'm not saying that's what ultimately going to happen. Maybe they just have a one-off match and that's it, and it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, I don't necessarily know. I don't know where Adam Page should ultimately go or what the future should look like for him. I know that at some point in his career he should be AEW champion again, but I don't know when or when that's going to ultimately happen or what that looks like. I guess this is as good as anything, I suppose. I mean, it just feels like a step down.
Earlier, I said let workers work. Yeah, not here. Squash it.
Well, like here's the thing, right? This was based on Jeff Jarrett's dumb, emotional freaking promo for the freaking Owen Hart tournament, where no one asked you to be emotional and get us on your side. No one asked you to be here. You're supposed to be here so that Heyman can squash you. No one asked you to give an emotional outlook on your friendship with Owen Hart so he can like you. But he did it. Now he's liked. So do with it as you will. But this should not be a rivalry, though. After this match should be done. Be done with it.
Do with it as you will. Squash him and get heat because people like him now.
I get it.
You don't really have anything to do with Hangman. Have him squash Jeff Jarrett. Have Hangman turn his attention, even though it's kind of whatever, because there's somewhat of a relation. Have him turn his attention to Jack Perry. I wouldn't mind seeing Hangman versus Jack Perry for the TNT title as a little feud. I mean, that wouldn't.
Right.
I mean, they
somehow
to the elite and the EVPs, so it is what it is. But at the same time, I mean,
like in my mind, this is because of Swerve, right? So if you want him to have motivation, he's like, I'll be a better wrestler than Swerve is. I don't think Swerve ever won the TNT title, so let's go against Jack Perry, and then let him work his way towards the heavyweight championship. So there's a way to work this in to give us more Hangman on our screens.
Yeah.
All right, and then next up, I love this segment. I'm sorry. It was supposed to be a tag team match, a trios match. We have Private Party and Commander coming out to Private Party theme music. Alex was doing a dance to shots, and it was like, I don't know how old you are, but I'm pretty sure you too old to be doing this with Private Party. I don't know who told you to dance with Private Party, but sir, I need you to stop it. I need you to stop. And thankfully, they got in the ring and they're still doing the entrance, and they got stopped.
If you get
But
invited to the party, you dance.
but yeah, they got stopped by BCC. Maria Shafir basically choking out Alex Apprehend. I don't get his name wrong. His last name wrong. Alex Apprehend.
You know what you mean.
Yeah, Alex. And then we call Claudio was just beating up Private Party, and the Pack was there just beating up. Everybody just got unalive, basically. And this is my okay. Let me get to the segment. And then Pac brings up the mic, and he was just like, basically, I am paraphrasing, but this is basically what they said. This stuff ain't gonna happen no more. This is the reason why AEW is bad. It's not bad, but they're like, this is why AEW has a problem. And it's like, basically, we're taking over. This is AEW now. And I love John Moxley's face when Pac is talking. So before this, right, we had All Out, and Pac with Claudio and Wheeler won the Trios Championship. And then we have Danielson winning the Heavyweight Championship. The week after, John Moxley and Maria Shafir come back, but they're now with BCC. And we were talking about this last week, me and AEW. They're like, okay, what's the status of the BCC? What are we doing? I think we have our answer, and I love this. They're like, kind of like in my mind, yeah, so Pac really doesn't fit with yes, now he does. And evidently, Will Yuta was the odd man out. Yeah, kick Will Yuta out, and now it looks perfectly fine. This is the best BCC. I am here for all of it. John Moxley, Maria Shafir, Claudio, and Pac. If Danielson didn't want to be a family man, he could have joined. But he wants to be a family man, so we have to unalive you. You can't be in this one. But I love this BCC. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I always wanted the BCC to be, right? I mean, a more active heel faction, the heel faction that I always wanted, and I'm happy for it. And honestly, I think it works better without Danielson, even though I don't think Danielson has any problem being a heel. I like Danielson a little bit better as a face. Like, it just is where I feel like he's a little bit, it's more of a sweet spot for him, and where I just think he thrives a little bit better. So this is going to be nice because this will be a big feud between Danielson and the BCC, which I'm here for. We'll get Wheeler and Danielson versus the BCC in some form of whatever. Versus probably Claudio and Pac or whatever. We'll get Danielson versus Moxley, I assume, which I'm extremely happy and excited for at some point here. I don't know. As long as Danielson holds the title, it should be for the title. I don't know that Moxley should be the guy to beat him for the title. I don't know that Moxley needs to be 4-time AEW champion, but at the same time, BCC is it's one of your big main event factions, and Moxley, they don't have a leader, but Moxley might be your leader for all intents and purposes, and your biggest faction, you might want to put the title on the biggest faction's leader. So I get it. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for all of this, let's put it that
way. No, yeah, definitely agree with all of that. Send me thoughts, or send me here.
I'm here.
Go. Any thoughts?
I dig it. BCC on top, like they're like aside from wrestling, they're up there with Christian Cage in entertainment when it comes to watching AEW.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'll put him above Christian. Me personally, I put him above Christian Cage in the family. But I'm here for the ride. All right. So we have the Learning Tree. Whatever, guys, showing up to the Coliseum, and they're showing up in Jericho's BMW. Jericho is wearing the old $7,000 jacket that had Orange Punch on it. Really don't think this is the same jacket. Maybe it is, but basically this is a segment of things to come in their match later on afterwards. Next, our next match is Ricochet versus Sammy Guevara. Boom. Like I said, so you got I don't like the guy, but I love his theme song. uh, when Ricochet came to AEW, I think we all had a vision of what kind of matches he wants. I think we're slowly getting what we want out of the Ricochet of AEW, right? This was a little bit faster for me than him versus Kyle Fletcher. He still didn't get a lot of offense or enough offense for me. I'm like, why is we still showcasing Sammy more than Pretty Ricky right now? I'm like, because Sammy leaps off of the thing off the stage, and I get it. It's supposed to be competitive, but I still want Ricochet to look awesome, right? And of course, Ricochet wins with his indie finisher. I'm not sure what it's called. You can help me out here. But basically, it's like an inverted spinning suplex. And like it's cool. I still think the 450 splash is better than this, but that's just me, right? But I know I get it. You're someplace new, you want to do something new. So Ricochet wins, but surprisingly, the Beast Mortis comes out and basically spears Ricochet. And Sammy's a good guy, so he chases him out for the chair. I guess we're gonna get that down the line. I'm not mad at it, right? People are like, "Oh, Lucha Underground." Like, okay, cool, cool, cool. And so, like I said, I'll say it. Yeah, I'll say it now. Like I say so many times with Ricochet, right? You are giving me some pretty fast matches, but I realize what I want. Give me Ricochet versus Leo Rush. Give me Ricochet versus Dante Martin. If they were here, give me Ricochet versus Ray Phoenix, but they're not, so I'm going to let it go. But give me Ricochet versus Commander. I want a full-on, fast-paced, close to luchador match with Ricochet. So these are the first two matches was cool, but that's what I want. Those are the next two matches that for Pretty Ricky for me. But like I said, it's slowly but surely, but we are getting the Pretty Ricky that we all know and love. Thoughts?
Eventually, we should get the rematch that we really want: Ricochet, Will Ospreay.
We should, but like I said, so he's doing a tag team thing. Spoiler alerts down the line. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit. Okay, so there being a Ricochet for y'all, we had Osprey versus Pack It All Out, and then we had Osprey versus MJF at All In. Would you have done Pretty Ricky versus Osprey on either one of those shows, or would you have waited?
I probably would have waited. I mean, obviously, it just depends on the timing wise. It didn't work out, right? It's because Ricochet wasn't
Right.
quite here doing it yet. But if he was here, I still probably would have waited. I mean, I think that there's a little bit of meat on that bone because of just the outside stuff. So I kind of want to let it marinate a little, let them both talk a little more shit to each other, and then have it be, hype it up a little bit more. So, um, but I think this was fun. I mean, I don't have a problem. Sammy Guevara is one of your pillars, right? And so I don't have a problem with him looking good and getting good offense. He's an extremely talented wrestler. I think he's good on the mic. I think he's good between the ropes. I don't. He deserves. He's a slimy douchebag in real life, but um, on my television, I enjoy him a lot. When he's supposed to be a heel, he's great at making you hate him. When he's supposed to be the kind of the face guy, he does a pretty good job at making you like him sometimes too. So I'm here for Sammy, and I'm here for Ricochet. I like the Ricochet we've seen so far. I don't have any problem with the Kyle Fletcher or the Sammy Guevara match. I understand what you're saying about the Dante Martins and those kind of guys. I see that the Commanders. At the same time, I think the first two matches have been fine, and I don't have a problem. I think this is the Ricochet that I was happy to see. It's not a whole lot different than the Ricochet in WWE, but it's a little bit different. I mean, he's done a couple little things here and there to kind of stand out a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing: Ricochet's not young, right? And I don't know the age of some of those other guys. The Dante Martin's very young. I don't know Commander's age, but you know, Ricochet is still fast for his age. I don't want him to get in a ring with someone who looks slow, right? So, like, I don't really want to see Dante Martin run circles around Ricochet at this point. I'm not sure that would happen, but there is,
Yeah.
he's not as young as, whatever. So,
Right. So,
Um,
you go, Sammy.
so Sammy Guevara is the only three-time, at least I believe he's the only three-time TNT champion.
Let's all right. So let's talk about Sammy Guevara real quick. Number one, that was dumb because that was probably the most lowest point of the TNT Championship when they hot potatoed it from him to Scorpio Sky. Don't sure why the freak they made us go through that. That was dumb. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it for Scorpio or Ethan Page. That was a very frustrating time in my life personally. Number two, even though Sammy's a pillar, he has gone through a lot where I don't think he's the same Sammy as, we'll say, 2 years ago, right? So even though he's on Ring of Honor, this might be Sammy's first match back since the baby, if I'm not mistaken, on Dynamite. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, okay, sorry. So I know he re-teamed up with Jericho. This was last year. It went up against Pretty Ricky and Big Bill, but there was a long gap after that, right? I'm not sure he got hurt. So for me, maybe re-hype up Sammy before doing this match because I think there we go. Let's land on that. I think we need to reassess Sammy Guevara because right now something isn't clicking, and it hadn't been clicking for a couple of years. So even though he's a pillar and you put a lot on him, something isn't working for the fans. And he is very talented, so you do need to get that corrected before it's too late. That's my opinion of Sammy.
No, I agree. I think it's booking mostly, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, booking, his character, all of that. All right, moving on. There we go. Yep. So another backstage segment where we have Don Callis and Takeshita facing off against Okada. And he was like, basically, you didn't pin Okada in that fatal four-way. He deserves a match. I'm sorry. You didn't pin Takeshita in that fatal four-way. So he deserves a one-on-one match for your title. And Okada, I love Okada in AEW. He was like, Takeshista's going to be a champion, but he won't be this kind of champion. So he leaves, right? Everything's even keel, a very nice exchange, but we can't end without Okada coming back and saying, bitch. And then that's when Takeshita pushes Don Callis and we have a face-to-face. This is going to be so good. Takeshita and Okada is going to be so good. Do we do it at Grand Slam? Do we wait for it? It's going to be good either way, but thoughts on the backstage segment?
I'm here for this for sure. Okada versus Takeshita is going to be really good. I don't really ultimately care when they do it. I think it's a big enough match that it probably deserves to be on a pay-per-view. But Grand Slam is kind of a pay-per-view style Dynamite, so I'm not necessarily opposed to it being there. I do, I like Don Callis, and at the same time, I think Takeshita was a little more over and a little more successful for me when he first came in and was a face than he has been as a heel. And some of that's just booking, I think. But I think I'd rather see him leave Callis and go back to maybe being a face and on his own. So I don't have a problem with, a little bit of dissension in the Callis family. I think it makes for a little more exciting stories. So.
Understandable. But like I said, when it happens, it happens. It's gonna be so good. Sammy, thoughts?
Honestly, like I feel like the Don Callis family would probably do better without Don.
like they've been teetering on this breakup for. I'm gonna say like it's not. It's not on the level of the teetering breakup of the Judgment Day, but they have been teasing it for I want to say 1 or 2 months. So it is figure it out or get off the pot, piss or get off the pot, right? And
Family's been a little weird because it feels kind of almost like the Heenan
yeah,
family was back in the day in the late 80s, in the 80s and stuff,
mm,
when just like kind of this kind of revolving group of
mm-hmm.
guys that none of them like they move in and out. None of them really liked Dawn. None of them necessarily loved Bobby. It's just they're kind of there because they get the rub from being in the group and that kind of thing. And yeah, members moving in and out. And so I don't know. I mean, we'll see how long, Don's always trying to recruit more guys, and everyone's like, I don't want to, but then they kind of begrudgingly do it. So it's weird. I don't know, but
I would like it more if it's a revolving door. I like I do think it's time for Takeshi to move on with Osprey and do Ozzy Open again. Uh Sorry, Cal Fletcher. Did I say Takeshi? If I did, my
yeah,
apologies.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
United
actually Kyle
Empire.
Fletcher and Mark Davis, but yeah,
but yeah. So I would let Cal Fletcher go with Osprey. Mm, Takeshita, I feel like if it was just Takeshita and Don Callis, it might be a little bit better. And unfortunately, we did have Hobbs in this match, but he got hurt. So it's a lot of things that. Like, so I think Don is still good, but like you said, these people in here should be what you call it. It might be some time to shake things up a bit. All right,
Uh,
next.
yep.
Oh, what you say,
uh,
Timmy?
were you a fan of the United Empire with like Jeff Cobb and everybody else who was over there?
So I only got a taste, but I did love when they were all together. I did love it. I'm like okay, let's go. I would definitely bring back Ozzy Open with everybody here. Yes.
Uh, well, the other half of Aussie Open, how's he doing? Is he still out on injury? Like,
He's still hurt.
all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't
Mark
heard anything
Davis.
about Mark Davis. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
what's going on with him. So I know at this point, though, I mean, the stuff that Kyle Fletcher's been doing as a singles wrestler, like, and there's nothing wrong with being a tag team wrestler in any way, shape, or form, but I
Hmm.
do think that there's more notoriety, more legacy,
Hmm.
more chances as a singles wrestler. And Kyle Fletcher, man, is making a big name for himself at the moment. So I don't know if I'm him, if I'm super anxious to jump right back into Aussie Open as soon as Mark Davis comes back. I feel a little bad for Mark Davis. He feels kind of like the odd man out. We'll have to see if he's can carve out a niche for himself as a singles wrestler potentially when he comes back. Assuming he comes back, I have no idea what's even going on with him. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
He didn't have to be go right back into the tag team. Like let's do Ozzy Open and be a group and talk about who tag
Well,
teams with who. But
Aussie Open is the tag team.
I'm sorry. United. I keep getting confused. United Empire. Let
Empire.
United Empire get together, and then we'll discuss who's the tag team officially.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have the segment that we've all been waiting for since John Moxley came back. Darby Allin comes out and says, "You've been calling me out, John. I'm here. Let's talk about it." Right. And here
Yep.
comes John Moxley with Marina Shafir. And Darby Allin he did the mixed words. He's like, let's get down to it. He's like, look, I've I have admired you ever since. I've admired you for very much many years. A lot of people aren't how we are when it comes to this business. We came from nothing, so we appreciate the love of wrestling. I've seen you backstage. You're a real person. I always wanted to be you. And then you turned on Danielson. He was like, that's when I realized I don't want to be you anymore. Because I'm all about loyalty. How can you do that to your friend? I would never do that to Sting. So tell me what you want, John. And in true John Moxley fashion, he was like, look, I can't explain everything to you, but the meat and potatoes of it is you're not ready to be a champion. You're not ready to be AEW World's champion. And so I'm gonna need that. It's like this was so deep of John Moxley. He's like, so I'm gonna need that championship opportunity from you. And so I love how Darby Allin was reacting because he had the mic. He's like, have you been drinking again? What is wrong with you? I gotta give you this. And so he was like, look, I can't explain everything to you. And you can see how John Moxley actually got a little bit offended when he said, I don't want to be you. So he's like, all right, fine. I'm not going to explain everything to you. And so Darby was like, look, I earned this shot. You did earn this shot. And then here comes dumb behind. I like, don't say this stupid thing. You're going to say this stupid thing. But if you want it, fight me for it. Grand Slam. I'm like, you don't have to put it on the line, you dingus. What is wrong with you? This is what happens when you fall off the freaking skateboard too many times. And so basically, we're gonna get Darby Allin versus John Moxley. Winner is the new number one contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I love this, and it sucks that it kind of got tempered down with the next coming segment, but cause John Moxley was like, you had this world championship match, but Danielson is indisposed at the moment, so you're gonna have to give. I'm like, sir, you're the reason why he's indisposed. What is wrong with you? And so again, like, we don't know the whole plan, John Moxley's evil plan, but I will be here. You don't have to give me the whole plan. I will be here every segment for you to tell me.
The plan is go to Washington, take that title off of him, and retire Bryan Danielson.
Okay. We'll talk about it later. I have thoughts. We'll talk about it later. The next segment, honestly. And okay, so I'll just wrap it up with Darby and Moxley's going to be awesome. I see Moxley winning. Like I said, you don't have to tell me the whole. Like you said, if that's the plan, which it is, but I guess the reason is why. Why? You keep speaking in riddles, John. Why do you think AEW needs a pendulum swing for me? But this was a good segment. What do you think?
I agree. I liked it. I'm here for it. All of it.
I think that they were doomed the moment that William Regal left.
Oh, unfortunate. Yeah. I get you want to be with your son, but man, what a time when William Regal's with the BCC. It was a good time. Hopefully he'll come back. I have hope.
I don't think so.
Well, look, not come back, but more so like, again, I think the end goal of BCC is actually a real wrestling school, and they have segments for NXT and AEW where they're just recruiting people off the street. Come with me if you want to be a great wrestler. And the dojo is somewhere in Seattle, Washington, with a fully bearded Danielson and Danielson and a bald-headed Moxley just beating up on little kids, young wrestlers. Any more thoughts? All right. Like I said, this was a good segment because we saw John Moxley take out Danielson. So yeah, it makes sense that Danielson won't be at Grand Slam. But then you kind of confuse the people with this segment. Here comes Nigel McGuinness coming out in your perfectly ironed polo and slacks, and he makes this promo to Danielson. Like, basically, you've been ducking me for the last 20 years. It has been infuriating seeing you live my wrestling dream. But you know what? I'll be the one to take it all away. In my hands, a contract, not for a title match, but just for a match against you at Grand Slam. He's like, I hope you'll be here, but if you don't, I hope you be there. And if you do, I'm taking you out. Deuces. The end. Like, it was definitely go out and watch the whole segment, but that's basically the gist of it. I wonder, okay, when Nigel came out for the gauntlet match at All In, we were all excited. All of our eyes said, yay, him versus Danielson at some point in time. this was not the point in time. Like it feels like like y'all don't be having these that y'all have to have full on meetings of what's going to happen on your show. But I think you should know what everyone's going to do. And if you have a John Moxley segment where it leads to him telling Darby you can't face Danielson because he's indisposed, why would you have this segment where Nigel McGuinness calls out Danielson to be there at Grand Slam? It didn't make sense, and it diminishes the whole Moxley taking out Danielson. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that I agree with you that it does diminish the whole taking out of Danielson, and if he's not available for Darby, then why is he available for Nigel? I don't give a shit about any of that. I don't care about any of that. All I want is Nigel versus Danielson, and I'm getting it. Am I disappointed it's not on a pay-per-view? Sure. At the same time, I don't really care. Just give it to me. Give it, inject it into my veins. That's all I want. This made the whole episode for me. This challenge, this promo, Nigel versus Danielson. I don't care when you do it, what you do it for, what the stakes are for. I don't care what health either of them are in. Just do it. I just want to see it again, and we're gonna get it. So it made. Yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted. So I don't care about all the other stuff. Sure, make it make sense is great. At the same time, I just want Nigel versus Danielson. So
Nigel's not going to win.
no, of course
not. I wanted this too. My mind said, "Do our Wrestle Dream," or let this be. They're like, "Who's going to retire Danielson?" It would have been nice if this was Danielson's last match. But I'm like, why is it right here? Why is it right now? Why is it right now?
I mean, there is the chance that it'll end in a DQ. BCC.
I mean, there could be more than one match. Danielson. I mean, if they're both healthy and clean, there could be more than one match. I mean, you never know. I mean,
and then Nigel's like, "All right, I'll put my differences aside," and tries to help out Danielson, and then they beat the crap out of Nigel, and he retires.
Yeah. Like I said, like I said, they have time to make sense out of this, but it's like, stop making it too complicated. Don't have to write yourself out of this. Let's just focus and do things in decency and in order. That's all I'm saying. All right, next we have Queen Aminata versus our new AEW Women's Champion Mariah May. This was great. I'm glad they gave Queen Aminata some offense. Well, no, Mariah May wins. And she gets the mic. She was like, "I have not had my championship celebration yet because somebody's missing." Everyone's thinking she says Toni Storm, but she actually says, "Mina Shirakawa, where are you? I miss you. Come back." So it seems like they're seemingly setting up Mina versus Mariah for her first rivalry. I do like that for her first rivalry. I get it. I like it. Let's do it. Thoughts?
I wasn't totally clear that this might be their first rivalry. I wasn't sure if she was calling her out because she wants her in her corner or if she actually wants the match. But either way, I like them together. So, I mean, I'm here for it. I'm a little disappointed that Queen Aminata gets fed to Mariah May. I think Queen Aminata has a really bright future. And, she was getting pushed there for a little while. And I guess she's still getting pushed. Technically, she has an okay match against the women's champion for the title. But, unfortunately, she takes a loss. And, as she should. She's not ready to be champion per se yet, but I don't know. But I didn't have a problem with this. I liked it.
Timmy?
Yeah. I thought it was a good match. I was assuming that she called out Mina to celebrate together.
So
champagne and kisses.
So I think I'm rushing it, but when I say their first feud, in my mind, this is how it's going to go. She calls Mina out, and Mina is disapproval of how she beat up Toni Storm. They might have, so they're going to have a disagreement. They might still, right? They might have a
I can't see Mina being disapproval.
Like I said, I'm not saying right now, but it feels like down the road it's going to be Mina versus Mariah. When I say down the road, maybe 2 or 3 months. So not quite sure what they do next week, but my mind went fast forward. Like, okay, this is going to be your first official next actual program. Like she's had 2 matches. The matches she's just beating up people. There's actually her actual program. They're actually going to hype this up. Is what I'm saying. And I'm all here for that. All right. So we have the Learning Tree versus Orange Savages. Surprise, surprise. Learning Tree wins. And so Chris Jericho gets the butt pack that he stole from OC, and punk, he takes out this photo in OC's backpack. It's actually a picture of the best friends with Statlander. And why would you do that? You know that man's heartbroken. That's actually his friends. And basically, all in all, not sure what he said about OC, but fast forward, OC's in the back with his new BMW. He was like, you know what? Let me just square up with you about your jacket, right? He was like, here's your $7,000, but I didn't have change. And so here comes Kyle O'Reilly and Mark Briscoe on the forklift, and they dump, I'm going to assume, $7,000 worth of money in Jericho's new BMW. OC puts the dollar on top. He gets his change. Surprise, surprise. Now, this did not work for me. Everybody was like, oh, you don't get it. The pennies, that's going to be damaging to the out. This is why you're telling these are bougie behind problems. Talking about how it's going to mess up the interior. From a person who wants to see destruction, the pennies being poured into the car did not look like it hurt the car. It looks like he's going to get someone to scoop the pennies out, maybe detail his car, and that's it. It's not like you squash the car with a forklift. If we're going to if we're going to do these segments, I need them to have an impact on me. You pouring change into the car had no impact on me. Sorry. But I guess we're doing, furthering the feud between OC and Jericho. Whatever. What do y'all think?
I mean, I don't care. I don't. I mean, I like the conglomeration, but OC's my least favorite member of it. It's unfortunate these other guys are kind of sucked in by default, but I don't care at all about Jericho and Cassidy, and I don't care at all about this feud in general.
I'm still confused why they brought the feud back because Jericho wanted him to pay for the jacket. Well, okay, he did. So
it feels like they didn't have anything for OC. They didn't have anything for Jericho, so they linked back up. It's a bad link up. Please block their numbers. Do something else. All right. Next up, we had a video package for Jamie Hayter versus Outcast. Please do that. Get that over with, please. When I say Outcast, Sriracha and Harley Cameron, please let her beat Saraya and get that over with. Then we have a video promo for Hook versus Roderick Strong. Decent match, but again, you don't need a full segment. So I do like the whole promo of Hook being at the skate park, probably in New York, saying, hey, let's get it, right? Let's get it. And then we have our main event, which is the Casino Battle Gauntlet for the number one contendership for the tag team titles. Now, this is great because tag teams mean you have more people to hype to fill up the ring. I'm not going to say, oh, Lord, my mic was on, so now they were saying what I said, and Lord, good, messing up my notes. But all right. I'm not going to say who came out first, but basically here are the teams that came out. So it starts with Kyle Fletcher and Ospreay, then FTR, then I'm going to say again, I don't know who came out which time. The Righteous came out, Max M&M Collection, I like them, Top Flight, Grizzled Young Veterans, and the Acclaimed, but the biggest pop of the night were the Outrunners, who got their first win on Rampage last week. Now, suffice it to say, this was a great match. I loved it. But I need someone to explain to me how the freak the Outrunners got over. Because like I said, they've been losing. Their first win was on Rampage. I don't think a lot of people watch Rampage. Now, they say they're actually the top merch sellers of AEW. So I'm not hating on it. I'm not hating on it at all. I actually do love this ragtag team. I love the 80s. I love the energy. I'm just wondering when did this happen? I think it's like they came out like gangbusters, and the crowd loved them to the point where it's like, do we want them to win? I wouldn't be mad if you just call all both of them win. It's on Grand Slam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like them versus Young Bucks. What can it hurt? But all in all, Kyle O'Reilly. No, sorry, Cal Fletcher. So many people with different same names. Cal Fletcher and Ospreay win with a hidden blade, which looks so sick against Dante Martin. And on Grand Slam, we have the Young Bucks versus Ospreay. And I want to say I them so bad. Aussie Open. Sorry, Ospreay and Cal Fletcher. Thoughts on the gauntlet match?
Sammy?
We could call them London Open.
If they want to be called London Open. But how do y'all feel about this gauntlet match?
Should be a good tag team match. I mean, Ospreay doesn't have a bad match, so.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I thought the gauntlet match was good. Excuse me, was good. I enjoyed it a lot. The Outrunners getting the big pop for me. I like that because I'm a big Outrunners fan. So I don't know how they got over. I think they just get over because people like their energy, and it makes people that are older feel nostalgic for the 80s or even, whatever.
Right.
Obviously, I knew they weren't going to get the win, but I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. I mean, if you're going to feed somebody to the Bucks at Grand Slam, I mean, that seems like the natural team to kind of feed them, because I have a feeling that maybe we're getting a Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher win here. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's the case, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know how. I don't know. I never know how you're going to book Will Ospreay to lose. That's just me. Because at this point, he just doesn't, and I don't know. It's hard to do. So if they're going to lose, Kyle Fletcher probably has to take the pin somehow in the loss, which is fine. Kyle Fletcher can probably endure that, especially since it's against whatchamacallit. Oh my
Young
God!
Bucks.
Thank you. Why am I drawing a blank on their name? Against the Young Bucks, who are one of the best tag teams in history. So there's no loss there, but I don't know how Ospreay loses at this point, just ever. So it's with them in the match. It makes it very interesting for me because now I don't know who's going to win. So if it was the Outrunners, obviously we know the Bucks are winning. If it's Top Flight, chances are good the Bucks are winning. If it's now that it's Ospreay and Fletcher, they could very easily win. I don't know. This might be 50-50. I'm not sure. I mean, who's going to win that match at Grand Slam? So I like it. I'm here for it. I thought this gauntlet match was a great main event.
I think you have Ospreay and Fletcher win the tag titles, and Ospreay having to defend the tag titles as well as the singles title wears him out, and it allows an opening for him to lose his singles title eventually.
That works good. Now, again, we've talked a little bit about Mark Davis. I have no idea what's going on with Mark Davis. I don't know that this would ever happen in 1,000,001 years, but they were United Empire before. Aussie Open was part of United Empire. If they win the titles and Mark Davis comes back, could you see Will Ospreay giving Mark Davis that title? And Aussie Open is now tag team champs again. I mean, I don't know that Ospreay would do that. I don't know that I like that per se. I'm just thinking out loud, like.
Not giving it, but maybe the Freebird rule. Like I would love for all of United Empire to come back. But if you just give me Mark Davis to come back. All right, cool. All right, a trio team. I like that. So Freebird rule, I can see them doing that. That wouldn't hurt, right?
Yeah.
And like spots that I loved in the match. I love the suplex to the outside by the Outrunners. That was so good. This is why I'm like, I know who I want Ricochet to go against, because the whole Dante Martin versus Ospreay, when they're just like, they're stretching and getting ready and they're going full, I'm like, this is what I want from Ricochet. This is what I want right here. So don't know where we can do this, but do this for Ricochet. And all in all, the reason why Don wanted Kyle and Ospreay to be in this gauntlet, because Osprey has not lost a gauntlet casino battle royale yet, and so I love that was the premise of why he wanted Kyle Fletcher and Osprey to be together. And you can like Osprey's energy in this match is unmatched. That's why, even though he is international champion, I will never be opposed to him being in the gauntlet. So that's why I'm like, like I don't care. I don't care. He doesn't have to win, but definitely just put him in all the gauntlet casino battle royales. I don't care.
Yeah, no, this was a very solid Dynamite. I thought that it was ultimately this main event and some of the other stuff put it as usual above NXT and Raw for me this week. I'm gonna give it an A minus. Thought it was solid. I mean, I don't know that it was an A or an A plus, but I thought it was an A minus.
For me, there were a couple of moments that brought it down a bit, so I'm gonna give it a B plus, like at 98, 99. I mean,
That's an
88,
A.
88, yeah, 88 or 89. Yeah.
I do agree with you though. I'm definitely a B plus. Again, by a small margin, I did not like them putting those back-to-back promo segments side by side. I'm like, y'all are diminishing John Moxley unaliving Danielson for a brief moment. So why would you do this here? I didn't like that, but all in all, great. So what are we? So we have some more minutes. Do y'all think they have a plan? Because as of right now, they had before All Out happened, you had Jack Perry, then you have Christian Cage with the title shot, then you have Darby Allin with the title shot, all for the heavyweight championship. Do you think they had a plan of who's supposed to go against Danielson if he wins this belt?
I don't know. I feel like Tony Khan's not always 100% sure where he's going. So like I don't know if some of it feels, and obviously it is all to a certain extent fly by the seat of your pants, but it feels like this is even a little bit more kind of on the fly. I don't know, and so yeah, it does seem a little weird. There's a lot of different angles at Danielson at the moment, which is fine. I mean, he's a heavyweight champion, so I mean it is what it is. But we'll ultimately have to see how they play out. But yeah, it's a little convoluted. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll like just TK, just space this out. Just space. We have time. Space it out, please.
The big question is, when does Christian Cage cash in?
That's so
Yeah.
weird. Again, I didn't think he should have won the gauntlet match. So I'm like, I don't want him to beat Danielson. I don't. I want him to lose. I don't think Danielson reign should end with Christian Cage. I don't. That's so weird to me.
It's tough. I mean, Christian is so good that I don't have a problem with him being AEW champion. At the same time, yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want him to beat Daniel.
Beating Daniels? Yes.
The only way, the reality for me is that the only way that really works is obviously if the patriarchy gets involved and helps him win. Because in theory, even though Christian Cage is a Hall of Famer, Christian Cage really shouldn't be beating Bryan Danielson one-on-one in a straight-up match. So the only way that it seems to really work for me is if the patriarchy gets involved and helps him win, which obviously they will, because that's Christian's MO. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what ultimately ends up happening with both those title shots. My guess is, and I don't like it, but my guess is that Moxley wins that shot from Darby. It's dumb. It's not dumb. Let me rephrase this. Moxley's a genius. Moxley's great.
Yes.
He's all these things. At the same time, he's the old guard and Darby is the new guard, and Darby needs a run or a title run more than Moxley needs his fourth title run, in my opinion. I'm not saying Moxley or that Darby was even set to win. I'm just saying if you're looking at it, Darby needs that more than Moxley does at this point. So it feels weird to me. Tony has a lot of really great young talent, and he's got a lot of really good older talent. And sometimes I'm not sure he does it right for me. And I don't there's a balance you have to strike there, and I'm not sure he's always striking it. I don't know how to get there. Don't get me wrong. I have no solutions or no answers. I'm just picking at it because that's the best I can do is critique it. But I think there needs to be a better balance somewhere.
I want all my Danielson dream matches. If it ends with I wouldn't mind if John Moxley ends Danielson's last match, and Darby wins it off of Moxley. I wouldn't be mad at that. Don't want it to be in a rush though, but that'll be cool to do.
Yeah, no time soon, but I am happy with that outcome.
Right? That can happen, but again, no rush, people. No rush.
Yeah. All right. Well, go ahead. Was there something else you want to say, Sammy?
Um, I just feel like Mox is one major run away from like being the pinnacle of professional wrestling, and he's 38, so he's not like super old or nothing.
And let's be very clear. Yes, it's 3 times, but it really is 2. The other time, it's like that last time was because an emotional crackhead basically wanted to blow AEW up, and they had to give the freaking championship back to John Moxley before things cooled down. So, yeah, he was champion, but I don't count that ring.
And then he held it to lose to MJF, which was the overall plan of MJF becoming champion. It was supposed to be CM Punk, but
yeah,
well, CM Punk changed plans.
Yeah. So it's fine.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. As usual, around here, AEW takes the win again.
It's going to be harder. It's going to be hard these upcoming weeks. It's going to be hard. It's going to be harder.
For this week again at Winter Circle. Tune in on Sundays for End of the Square Circle. There will be a show tomorrow. I said that last week and there wasn't, but there should be a show tomorrow. I promise there should be a show tomorrow. So make sure and tune in for that. Hopefully 8 a.m. Eastern or Pacific. 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune into the Cookout live every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, where we get together and talk about all that's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. Make sure and tune in on Friday nights for Friday Night Fights, where Nika and Sammy Joe watch SmackDown and Rampage and whatever else is going on. And then join us always for Winter Circle, which we're here for right now, live Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, where we review Raw, NXT, and Dynamite and pick our favorite show of the week. This week it was Dynamite again. It has been Dynamite and a landslide every week. So, well, not quite a landslide, but almost a landslide. Then I think tonight we'll be back for our first return of Saturday Night is All Right with our Collision Watch, with I believe CM coming back tonight. So make sure and tune in for that, and stay tuned. If for some reason that doesn't happen, we will let you know. But that's usually going to be going on again now that CM should be back. So unless anyone else has anything else to say, I think I'll hit this outro and we'll get out of here. If I can figure out how to do this right.
Thanks for coming. Okay. No.
Peace.
Bye.
So
keep dancing.
Playing? What's going on? Okay, hold on.
Let's go.
Sorry, I know I'm trying to figure this out here. Sorry.